The nomination of a leadership Justice Gertrude Torkornoo puts to rest conflicting publications on who becomes the next Chief Justice. Prior to the nomination, several media houses had tipped two Supreme Court justices to be in a tight race to be the head of the third arm of government. The two were Justice Gertrude Torkornoo and Justice Yone Kulendi, who was a private legal practitioner for decades until his appointment and approval in 2020 to the Supreme Court. Her nomination, therefore, did not come as a surprise to many.
The nomination didn't come to us as too much a surprise, because from grapevine, when the names were coming up, her name was one of those that was part of the top list to be considered. So it didn't come to us as a surprise, though. So we've received it, and then we are glad that we have our mother to be the head of the third arm of government.
The process, according to the presidency, has been kick-started to ensure that there will be no vacuum when current Chief Justice Anin Yeboah retires on May 24th this year. In the president's communication to the Council of State, he noted that the hope is to make sure there is a Chief Justice in office when Justice Anin Yeboah retires. Deputy Attorney General Alfred Tuan Yeboah has been explaining how the president settled on Justice Torkornoo.
There was nothing like competition. You may talk about interest, but whether you have an interest or not, the appointing authority is the ultimate person to decide who is supposed to occupy that office. So from what I'm stating, among all the Supreme Court judges, each one of them is qualified to be Chief Justice. But only one person should be appointed. And the president has looked through the numbers and appointed one person for the constitution of the Council of State and subsequently for the approval of Parliament.
Justice Torkornoo has served as a judge since her appointment to the High Court in 2004. In 2012, she was elevated to the role of a Court of Appeal judge, where she served for 7 years until her appointment to the Supreme Court in 2019. In addition to her role as a judge, Justice Torkornoo served in various capacities, including chair of the editorial committee of the Association of Magistrates and Judges, chief editor for the development of the Judicial Ethics Training Manual, and chair of the E-Justice Steering Committee. This earned her respect among her peers and made her a mentor for many. The Judicial Service Staff Association of Ghana, who have been working closely with Justice Torkornoo, is excited about the nomination.
Well, really, we've had a lot of working relationship with her, picking information from those who've worked with her from the commercial court up to the Supreme Court. And the feedback we had is that at least it is one of the best that will happen in the service. She's going to be the third mother to head the third arm of the government. You get it? So we feel that we have a mother who is coming to take care of us.
The nominee, before her career began in 2004 as a judge, was a private legal practitioner. She was called to the bar in 1986, and she practiced as lawyer for 18 years in Fugger & Co. and Sozo Law Consult. Several lawyers have equally expressed satisfaction about the nomination.
I have appeared before her when she was sitting at the Commercial Court, High Court Division, and I see her as somebody who is strict and would uphold the law.
Justice Torkornoo came into national prominence in 2015 when she was tasked by then Chief Justice Georgina Wood to hear all matters relating to judges indicted as a result of an expose by investigative journalist Anas Aramiya Anas. The investigative piece in 2015 cited some judges for taking bribes in the discharge of their duties. 22 of them were subsequently suspended. Justice Torkornoo was then asked to hear grievances of some of the suspended judges. One of the affected judges, Paul Derry, filed contempt and prohibition applications against Justice Torkornoo while hearing the matter, but some were dismissed while he withdrew the one on contempt. She has been described as a model judge.
Justice Torkornoo was appointed a High Court judge, and she was in Accra. a lot of lawyers appeared before her. I also appeared before her as counsel, and we knew the kind of work that she was doing. Someone who was very disciplined at the time, and now too very disciplined as we speak now. Someone who was ready to do her job and without fear or favor or ill will or affection. No wonder she was elevated to Court of Appeal. Court of Appeal, to tell the truth, I appeared before her several times in Kumasi. And some of us who appear before her can testify to her worth as a judge. At the Supreme Court, too, I've appeared before her. A lot of lawyers appear before her as the Supreme Court judge. She's gone through the mill, so I can tell you that she has everything that it takes to be a Chief Justice of the Republic.
Justice Torkornoo was also part of the panel who presided over the 2020 election petition. A major talking point after the petition was how the bench unanimously ruled in favor of President Akufo-Addo. This attracted criticism from some Ghanaians, mostly members of the National Democratic Congress. Even though the NDC's legal team says it has no objection to the nomination, its director says the team is only concerned about how the Chief Justice will act when it comes to cases of a political nature.
But the test has always been when political cases that are against the government come before the court. That, for me, is the real test. As to what she can do, we only wait to see when she takes over office.
But Deputy Attorney General Alfred Tuan-Yeboah believes such concerns are unwarranted.
I can assure you that there's confidence in the judicial system. People talk about unanimous decisions and the rest. Maybe they are not practitioners in the courts. Those of us who have done this job for the last 20 years, you go to court, and majority of the decisions are on unanimous basis, especially those in the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court. Because, for example, if three judges sit on a matter and they agree on a certain point, why should each one of them write his or her judgment? But it's also allowed that a judge may want to dissent. So everything depends on the judges.
With the confidence reposed in the nominee so far, some stakeholders are hopeful she will bring changes to justice delivery in Ghana.
And we are hoping that when my lady comes, when our mother comes, she's going to break that record. She's going to make her door open 24/7 for us to come and address issues of labor, issues bordering on our promotions, issues bordering on training and retraining of staff, issues bordering on disciplinary matters. When it comes up, at least members will be dealt with in accordance with the law and with some level of consideration.
I'm looking at how speedy we can have cases heard in our courts. And speedy trials, I've always been saying that it's not a one-way traffic. It is a tripartite exercise. The judge is involved. The judge, then I'm going to talk about it, that's the bench is involved. You have the bar, that's lawyers involved, and then the parties. She has control over the judiciary, for that matter, the judges. And that within her setup, there may be other guidelines to the judges. That's why they manage their courts. So at the end of the day, even if the parties and the lawyers agree on a matter, it is a duty of the judge to either reject or accept. So she can put whatever she may want to use in speeding up trials through the bench. And I expect that she will do so.
But my expectations are that at the moment, the confidence in the judicial process is not the best. And so her first responsibility is to see how she can claw back the confidence in the justice delivery system.
The Council of State in the coming days will be expected to make known its view on the nominee to the President. Based on this, the President will officially inform Parliament of the nomination for approval in line with Article 144 of the 1992 Constitution. Deputy Attorney General Alfred Tuan-Yeboah, however, says he does not foresee any hindrances to the approval process.
Justice Torkornoo appeared before Parliament not long ago for her approval as the judge of the Supreme Court. She didn't have any problems. From the time that she was appointed up to date, until or unless there are things that may go against her, from what I said, I don't see how maybe her nomination may be rejected by Parliament. But of course, Parliament may have other reasons that they think that she may not be qualified to be the Chief Justice. The Council of State, as we speak, they are also in the process of also helping the President to to finally submit a name to Parliament. And I think the Council of State also, prior to the appointment of Justice Torkornoo as Supreme Court judge, went through a similar process. So he's not someone who is not new, someone who is well known within the setup